It's real!
Real life
by Grace. Hey everybody. Well, obviously this is a little bit different than my typical video quality. I don't always look like I'm on the cover of Vogue, but this video was important enough that I figured it was worth you seeing me without makeup. Fair warning, if you have not seen the most recent episode of The Flash Season 3, it was episode 22, Infantino Street, the one we've all been dreading since the beginning of the second half of Season 3. If you have not seen that episode, then do not watch, as there will be spoilers here. So this is something I learned recently, and it makes so much sense. I was at a conference session listening to a very skilled writing teacher, Daniel Schwabauer. He does the one-year adventure novel, if you want to look him up. He said something that made so much sense to me, and it puts everything into perspective, both in reality and in fictional worlds. He said, "A good storyteller makes success look like disaster." I mean, wow. That makes so much sense, right? Because we know the progression of a story. It's a whole chain of events of things going wrong, yet somehow the heroes pull out a win in the end. And you're kind of wondering how they got there. But when you look at it this way, you realize that the storyteller was bringing them closer to their goal the entire time. Who do we become when the people that encourage us to be our best, the people that we find a place of security with, are gone? This is something that Barry has been struggling with since season 1, when we were introduced to his origin story, really, that happened when he was 11 years old and his mother was murdered. Compelling characters start out believing a huge lie. And the goal of the storyteller, of the crafter of the story, is to lead that character on a journey where they eventually come to a climactic point where they realize the truth and they stop believing that lie. And often the way a character gets there is through a series of disasters, through a lot of pain, a lot of heartache. You know, our writers are given a bad rap for putting characters through all kinds of crud. And as a fan, I want to gather all my characters up and protect them. But as a writer, I love them, and I know that it would be better for them to go through that pain and stop living in a place of falsehood and come into a place of truth. That's your job as a writer. It's kind of like being a parent. You're given a character and they believe a lie, and it is your job to make sure that by the end of that story, they are a changed character and they don't have to live in that lie anymore. Even if it hurts, it's better for them. I feel like every season, Barry has come to a deeper level of having the people that make him feel secure and like he has a place in the world taken away, and he's had to adjust to that. He hasn't always adjusted well. That's where Flashpoint came from, and kind of the mess where we are right now. But that's only realistic because we don't always make smart choices when we're grieving and stuff. As much as we're frustrated with Barry, I can understand some of the choices that he's made as a human being with a heart that feels sorrow. I think the writers are trying to bring Barry to a place where he can be a hero that chooses to get up every morning and do the right thing and be who he's supposed to be, regardless of his circumstances. And the way you do that, even though it's awful, is you pull every piece of stability, every sense of this person makes me okay, this thing makes me okay. You pull that from under them. You essentially pull the floor out from under them, and you see what they do. You see who they become. So even though Barry still has friends, you know, he's got Cisco and HR and Julian and Joe and Wally, all these people in his life, Iris has been his heart for his entire life. She has been the one thing that has been unmoving, unchanging, and more than any other character, she has inspired and pushed Barry to be the best version of himself. She always sees who he's supposed to be, and she knows how to bring that out of him. And I think he's terrified at the thought of losing her, not just because he loves her more than he loves his own life, which is really romantic, but he doesn't think that he can be himself if she isn't there, which is very reasonable. I can understand why he believes that. But the truth is, if you are only being the best version of yourself because that's what somebody else is pushing you to do, then you're setting yourself up for failure. Life is frail. Bad things happen. People change. People fail you. You know, nothing is perfect. You have to be able to choose to do the right thing on your own, to walk out of a place of hope regardless of your circumstances. And Barry has done a remarkable job of this. It feels like he's earned the right to not be in so much pain, but he's a hero, which essentially means he is signed up for pain, because this is how heroes are born. They are put through fire in order to come out on the other side and still be a hero. So where we are right now is the last piece of Barry's heart was just stripped away. It's gone. And every single villain has tried to do this. They have seen Barry as a threat because he's such a shining beacon of life and hope and truth and goodness. And this terrifies them. Evil cannot stand the sight of good. It repulses evil. The Reverse Flash became evil because he couldn't measure up to Barry, which is really obnoxious. Zoom knew he couldn't measure up to Barry, so he tried to bring Barry down to his level by destroying his life. Savitar is born out of who Barry becomes when he does not stay true to who he is. This is all very personally, deeply, and revolving around Barry being who Barry is supposed to be versus not. So I realized that last night's episode, because I know they have to fix it. I mean, they have to fix it. We have a season 4 coming, and there would be no show without Iris West. You know, as a West Allen thing, it is happening. And so I was trying to figure out, I feel like they've been telling us the whole time, just like they were telling us the whole time who Savitar was, they're telling us the whole time how Barry is going to defeat Savitar. But what is it? I realized they've actually been setting this up, it feels like, since season 1. It has been a consistent theme to talk about Barry's good heart, Barry's choice to rise above adversity, how he overcomes these tragedies, how he has hope in his heart. And Barry has in some ways associated those things with people in his life, especially Iris. You know, in season 3, when she found out that she may die, Iris has really been trying to take that weight of her being the one who inspires and keeps that part of Barry alive and hand that over to him and say, look, hun, you got to keep being who you are regardless if I'm here or not. Promise me you're going to be that person. Promise me you're not going to change who you are, because that is the part of you that is the hero. And Barry has wanted to reject this because he is so devastated at the thought of losing Iris, rightfully so. But piece by piece throughout the season, he has been taking on more and more of that for himself. That decision to own who he is, regardless of his circumstance. So now he's in the worst possible circumstance. The love of his life, his heart, his hope, she's dead. She's gone. And he has to choose who he's going to be. Captain Cold told us last night how Barry's going to defeat Savitar. I love that it was Captain Cold that said it. I think he's hilarious. He's an amazing character. I wish he would be on more often. He has no qualms about just saying it how it is, and I love that about his character. He looked Barry in the eye and he said, stop trying to beat Savitar at his own game. The greatest weapon you have is your goodness, your good heart. I'm paraphrasing. Well, let's think about this. Savitar has said that Iris has to die in order for him to be born. It's him or Iris. Well, we saw a future Barry who allowed himself to be consumed by darkness and did not hold on to who he was once Iris was gone. It is out of that Barry that Savitar came to be. What happens if Barry chooses to hold on to who he is, even though Iris is gone, and does not become that future version of Barry? Is Savitar created? Because Savitar doesn't come out of a Barry with hope in his heart and a Barry that wakes up every morning to do the right thing. He comes out of a Barry that gave up. So essentially the greatest weapon Barry has is himself. And that is how I believe he will defeat Savitar. He's going to come through this trial, through this fire, as one of the greatest heroes that I think has ever, been on the screen. A hero is someone who chooses to do the right thing regardless of circumstance. And he's just been handed the worst possible circumstances. So who will he become? I know last night was awful, but the lower the lows, the higher the highs. As a writer, I looked at last night's episode and I went, oh my goodness. Next week is going to be so awesome. Because not only is Barry going to defeat Savitar, but he's going to defeat this lie that he's lived with. That he cannot be who he's supposed to be unless certain people are around him. That he can't own that for himself. So not only is he going to defeat the evil, he's going to defeat the lie. So let me know what you all think. I know a lot of Flash fans were really, really in pain last night, and we're all just desperately waiting for next week's episode to come and heal our hearts. Sharing this experience, the story with other people, and watching as the characters grow, I think that's so special. The story has this incredible ability to bring people together because it gives us a shared experience. And we have the same emotions at the same time, and so it opens up these vulnerable places in our hearts where we can share them together. It's just a really neat thing that unites people, and I love it, and I love The Flash. So be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and share, and let me know how you think Barry's going to defeat Savitar. All right, have a good night.
Come lay